A lot of people imagine retirement as sitting around and doing nothing. The funny thing is, I'm probably busier now than when I was teaching. A year ago, I was an American high school teacher. Today, I live in a small Portuguese village near Ourem and Fatima, write fantasy novels full-time, raise chickens, travel around Europe with my wife, and somehow still can't convince myself to sleep in. Today, Kristen is in Italy attending a wedding of a cousin, which means you're getting a rare look at what a normal day looks like from my perspective. So come, spend some time with me in Bairro, Portugal. My day starts at 7 o'clock. Most mornings begin exactly the same way. Pepper and I head out for a 3-mile walk throughout the town of Bairro. The roads wind through vineyards, past olive groves, by small farms, and clusters of stone homes that have stood here longer than I've been alive. The village is quiet. Most mornings I hear birds, distant church bells, occasional tractors, and occasionally another dog announcing its presence to the neighborhood. As we walk, I usually split my time between studying Portuguese, listening to audiobooks, and spending a little bit of time in prayer and reflection. This has become one of my favorite parts of the day.
You see this chimney here in the center? It's one of the traditional chimneys you'll see all over Bairro, Portugal. They're round and louvered, meant to keep rain out, and also show a little bit of the status of the person that has it. Our house has 3 of these chimneys that are more modern, that harken back to an older style. So I want to talk a little bit about this cafe. You'll see these Delta signs all over Portugal. You're like, oh great, a cafe. The fact is that the hell we live in, Bairro, has about 4 of these, and only one of them is operational. And it's not even a cafe like I would think of it, with a place to sit down, work on your computer, have a coffee or whatever. It does have sit-down areas, but it's typically the older men that go there. I guess I am getting older myself, but it's not what I've envisioned, and the rest are all closed. And it's actually a sign of the declining population of Bairro. Young people, when they graduate, get married, they move on to either somewhere else in Portugal, and many times we hear stories like when we interviewed Sarah, people moving out into other countries just because the work's better, the pay's better, the economy's better. So I want to talk a little bit about this traffic light in my walk. Just a normal traffic light, except that since the end of January, when Storm Kristen came through, there was no traffic light at all. No policemen, no nothing, and there have been no accidents. So only this past week did it come on, and it's been flashing yellow the whole time. I think it's to get people used to it being on again. We're now, 5 months after the storm?
5 days of the week, I do this voluntarily. The other 2 days of the week, I report for duty under my personal trainer, Veronica. Veronica's mission appears to be discovering entirely new muscles I never knew existed, and then making them hurt. The upside is that she speaks only Portuguese, which means every workout doubles as a language lesson. The downside is I occasionally learn new Portuguese words moments before collapsing on the floor. One thing that I still struggle with in Portugal is the language. I'm improving slowly, but there are days when I say something in Portuguese confidently, only to discover that I've asked for something completely different. Thankfully, people are usually patient. One of the words I learned most recently is saudade, which I might be pronouncing slightly off, but it is one of the most famous Portuguese words. It's difficult to translate directly into English, but it describes a deep longing for someone, something, or somewhere that is absent. As Americans living abroad, we understand saudade now better than when we first arrived. Sometimes it's missing family back home. Sometimes it's missing a place you once lived. And sometimes it's appreciating a moment now because you know it won't last forever. After our walk, it's time for breakfast. Now, Kristen would like you to believe that I enjoy variety. That would be a lie. Every single morning, I eat exactly 2 eggs, 1 piece of toast, and coffee. The eggs come from our own chickens, the toast comes from the grocery store, and the coffee comes directly from God. At least that's my working theory. Some people have a breakfast menu. Apparently, I have a breakfast policy. While I eat, I spend a little bit of time checking social media, responding to comments, and seeing what chaos the internet has produced overnight. After breakfast, it's time to get to work. And I know I'm retired, but it's still work. One thing I've learned since retiring is that retirement is a terrible word for what I actually do. When I was teaching, I had 1 job. Now I seem to have 6. Mornings begin here at my stone table. It's quiet, the view is beautiful, and it's where most of my work gets done. Some days I'm writing fantasy novels. Other days I'm editing manuscripts, recording audiobooks, designing book covers, updating websites, answering readers, and creating YouTube content. One thing that people many times don't realize is that being an independent author, writing is just one part of the job. For every hour spent writing, there are many more spent doing everything else. Today, I'm working on my fantasy series set in the world of Calabar, and this is where I record my audiobooks. Nobody tells you that when you become an author, you'll spend hours sitting in a room talking to yourself. If the neighbors hear me through the walls, they'll probably assume retirement has finally broken me. As I explained earlier in the episode, Kristen left earlier this week to attend a wedding in Italy. And one of the things that we have come to appreciate is how easy transportation is in Portugal. Rather than driving all the way to Lisbon or Porto, we usually take the Uber from our home in Bairro to the bus station in Fatima. From there, we take a coach bus directly to the airport. It's simple and affordable. And in our experience, it's been extremely reliable. Today, I was simply dropping Kristen off. No Italian adventure for me this time. There are 2 major bus companies here in Portugal, Ready Express and Flixbus. Ask 10 people which one is better and you'll get 11 different answers. Ready Express tends to cost a little bit more. Flixbus tends to be a little bit cheaper, but both have served us well. After saying goodbye and watching Kristen's bus pull away, I headed across the street in Fatima to the Pingo Doce. I won't lie, watching her leave brought a little bit of saudade. Not because she's gone for long, but because when you spend most of your time together, even a short separation feels a little bit strained. The Pingo Doce I visited today isn't one of the larger ones that most people notice. This one is tucked beneath another building almost directly across from the bus station. I needed cat litter and cat food for our cat Jade. One thing that Americans often find a little bit different is that grocery shopping in Portugal works a little bit differently. You bring your own bags. Forget them once, and you'll remember forever. You also quickly learn which stores carry the products you like and which ones don't. I tend to gravitate toward stores like Continent and Pingo Doce, while Kristen likes Aldi and Lidl, or Lidl. It's a small thing, but over time, it becomes part of daily life. Back home, I let out my girls. And by girls, I mean my 4 chickens. No, they don't have names. I'm not sure I could tell them apart anyways. I've learned not to get emotionally attached to creatures responsible for producing breakfast.
Here are my chickens. I'm just checking to see that I feed them. See, they should have, looks like they have plenty of food in there. And these are my 4 girls. How you doing, girls? You good? You ready to come out and explore? They have some water, though. Won't let me fill that a little bit later today. Here, we'll let you out. Come on, girls. Hey, you guys, how you girls doing? Let's shut this. Whoa, let's shut this. They love being out. I guess it takes care of insects and stuff like that. Plus, helps cut down on the amount of food that I need, and they provide me plenty of eggs. We'll go in and we can see some of my eggs here. Oh, you can see some of my eggs right there. I'll pull them out a little bit later here.
They provide more eggs than I could eat, Fortunately, some of the neighbors help solve that problem. Lunch for me is usually simple: yogurt and cereal, nothing particularly exciting. If Kristen and I aren't off exploring Portugal, I'll often take another short walk around the vineyards and olive groves with my dog Pepper. This might be actually one of my favorite parts about living here. The pace is slower, life feels less rushed, and people, when you pass them, still stop to talk. Late in the afternoon, I had an appointment with Cuff Liria. Portugal has both public and private healthcare systems. And although we could use the public healthcare system, we've generally chosen to use private healthcare through MGen insurance. Part of that decision comes from us not wanting to use resources that the Portuguese people themselves need. Our experience overall has been very positive. Appointments have generally been easy to schedule. We use a scheduling group called Serenity. Tests such as MRIs and CT scans have been fairly straightforward to obtain. This is simply our experience, but it's been one of the surprises about living here. When evening arrives, life slows down again for us. Sometimes we cook at home. Kristen is a fantastic Italian cook. Other nights, we head out to one of our favorite restaurants: Acave, Vintage, Piazza Fiamma, Ristorante Descobre, and many others that we discovered over the past year. One of the things that we've enjoyed most about Portugal over the past year has been discovering local restaurants and getting to know the people behind them. The evenings are often spent planning future trips and watching a little bit of television, or sometimes taking a walk together through the village. Portugal hasn't given us a perfect life, but it has given us something increasingly rare. Time to create, time to explore, time to grow, and time to appreciate everyday moments that might go otherwise unnoticed. Maybe that's another form of saudade, recognizing that this moment, this season of life won't last forever, and appreciating it while it does. Even on days like today, when Kristen is off in Italy and it's just Pepper and the chickens and a growing pile of writing projects, I'm reminded again of how grateful I am for this chapter of life. Thanks for spending the day with me. Até Logo.